Hello and welcome. Welcome back to my channel, guys, and welcome all of you who are new to my channel. Today, I want to embark with you in a story never told before, bigger than you could ever possibly imagine. In this video, this is gonna be my own theory, or at least I believe it's my own theory, since I came up with it. Hopefully nobody has done this one before. I really hope. No, real, I'm being honest. I really hope no one has come up with this before. So guys, today I'm gonna bring you a story, a theory, my own theory, explaining everything in the FNAF history. I'm talking about from Five Nights at Freddy's 1 all the way up to modern day, guys. I want to break everything that you have ever imagined and rethink it in the whole FNAF history. And at the end of the day, whether you like my theory or not, I hope I spark some fire in your imagination to create more and think deeper on the whole FNAF franchise, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I encourage you to like and subscribe so you can support me and show some love, because I sure love you guys. I am here for your entertainment. Thank you so much, and now let's get into my own theory. So grab your popcorn and sit tight, because in my opinion, this theory will probably blow your mind away. Well, at least that's what I hope. When I first played Five Nights at Freddy's 1 years and years ago, the first impression that the game gave me was, why are we in a Chuck E. Cheese, bro? Clearly, that's the first impression, the first place. Because when we're kids, we go to Chuck E. Cheese, play in the ball pit, go through the slides, have fun with all our friends, watch the show, especially back in the day where they had these type of things like the Bears Jamboree and stuff like that, an old school pizzeria. But Chuck E. Cheese is the main franchise you could think of, especially when I was younger. So that's the vibe it gave me. What the hell am I doing in a Chuck E. Cheese? These doors. Why are these doors so high tech? Why am I in a security office and I can't move from the chair and the doors are high tech? It's almost like I'm playing a game with make-believe rules. There's no reason for me to not be able to get up from the chair unless I'm making the rules. Unless there's rules established and I have to follow like it was a game. And at the end of the day, we are playing a game that has rules. And part of those rules is that you can't move from the office, check the cameras, and these animatronic creatures, which make no sense because the technology required behind this, it's just so incredibly unachievable in those times. The technology behind. So we just start the first game with all these mysteries. Why is the technology so advanced on these animatronics? Why do they look like giant toys, bro? Why can't I move from the chair? Why could I only look at cameras and everything is so low res in quality? And the main mystery behind it all, why is it so scary? Then we're thrown into Five Nights at Freddy's 2, back at a very similar pizzeria location, visiting our friends again, but then it takes an even deeper, scarier horror take. In this one, we're sitting in the office, but we're more exposed to these animatronic creatures. And this is where they introduced the toy animatronics, which is the most why. Why are they so different from our original crew? Why are they called toys? That's so weird. Out of all the names they could be called, they're called the toy animatronics. Are you serious? And then we're so exposed, we have no control. Why? Because for no reason the rules have changed. Because it's like some kind of game.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
So yes, we are playing a game. But inside the game, it's like we're playing a game. It's like we're following the rules of a game. Where somebody says, okay, you're gonna have to, like a Mr. Beast challenge. Okay, the challenge is, you're gonna have to sit in the chair, right? And you only got this flashlight, and you can't move, okay? That's part of the rules. And when this one shows up, you're gonna have to do this, and this is how you win the game, okay? And then, so it's very, 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 very similar to playing a made-up game with made-up rules. Rules that we don't have to follow, but we're playing a game and we want to win. So we follow these rules. And that, I always found that so weird, because in reality we know we will get up, hide, or it's something that makes more sense, we will get the hell out of here. Unless there is no danger. And we're actually just playing a game. So when you think about it like that, when you think about it in the terms of you're playing a game, and there's some kind of reward or story you're trying to follow, and there's very, very specific rules that make no sense, then we're playing a game within a game, aren't we? So then we enter Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 changes everything with new rules, a new story. It's clearly Halloween. It's clearly we're doubling down on the scariness. We're doubling down, and now there's new rules established in the game. Like if we're playing a board game and we're throwing dice, and the odds of a phantom appearing, it's according to the dice roll. Pick up a card, and Spring Bonnie takes a few steps closer to you. I mean Springtrap. And this is very interesting, because if you follow the rules correctly, then Springtrap, instead of getting you, has to take 3 spaces back. So it's very interesting because it has game mechanics. If we're talking about real life here, there's no reason for Springtrap to follow the rules of a game unless it is a game. All he has to do is make it to you and get you, unless it's a game. And by following the rules of the game and throwing the dice in the correct number, you could win the game. These are actually winnable games. You're really never in danger. You're just in danger of losing the game. What's very interesting about this as well is even mentioning that the game has games inside the game. So what is this? Are we playing a game and then... So this, in the world of the multiverse right there where Five Nights at Freddy's exists, they are arcades where you could actually play Five Nights at Freddy games. So is this just a child playing a Five Nights at Freddy game, seeing a story play out? Are they just playing an arcade game or a home console where they insert the game and they play their favorite franchise game? Do the games tell a story and then we follow that story in the games we play? So it's very interesting because there's games within the game and I never understood why. So it's very clear that all these games, whether arcade or home console games, have a story within them. And every time you play the game, you're following a story. So if you're a child, you kind of have an idea of what the story might be. And if you have, you know, merchandise like plushies or toys or anything like that, you might actually tell your own stories. Where have we seen stuff like this before? So this whole theory to me came when some friends showed me what they grew up watching. And I started slowly thinking about it and saying, yeah, that is a very popular thing, ain't it? That became a very popular genre in YouTube. And it's as simple as playing with toys and using our imagination. And what's so similar to this? So clearly, if you grew up playing with FNAF toys, if you grew up knowing about the Five Nights at Freddy's series, playing with the plushies and making up your stories and so many adventures while you use your imagination is a thing. It's definitely a thing. While growing up, we made our own games. We made our own stories. And it was real to us. So yes, guys, that's what I'm saying. If you have any idea by now where my theory is going, is that a child's imagination playing with their toys of their favorite characters that they see in real life makes a whole world come to life. Because that's the power of imagination, guys. That's the power of a child's mind. Yes, guys, that's my theory. Welcome to what I think it's my original theory. Unless someone did it before me, I don't know. But this is my theory, according to me. Because I don't think I've heard this ever before. It's always been an imagination. And just like Woody told Buzz, you are just a toy. But they believe they're real. They believe they're real, guys. It's always been imagination. They've always, which explains the toy animatronics perfectly. It explains the rules that were established behind the scenes. Why you can't move from the chair. Why all these things that make no sense start making sense if you think about it in that way. Okay, let's play a game. These are my new toys. So we're gonna make some rules. You're gonna sit in this security office, alright? You're like the security guard. And I'm gonna move the toys up to you. And you gotta it's gonna be like red light, blue light, red fish, blue fish, whatever. We're gonna play and you just can't get caught. But if you're not looking, you'll get caught. Okay. And then you play and then you're like, caught you. No. Actually, I have a bubble shield. You can't have a bubble shield. Okay, well, let's just say there's a giant metallic door that closes right there, okay? Oh, alright. No bubble shield, but I'll agree to the metallic giant doors, alright? So if you live in a world where these characters exist, and they clearly have a franchise, and they make toys and plushie, and we are very similar to that because we have toys and plushies. And just like in that world, in this world, we make our own stories and play with the toys. But not only that, more and more different versions of our favorite characters, different series, and all types of crazy themed toys come out. And, you know, we're kids. We're using our imagination. It doesn't matter. Let's just include them in our game. There's new characters introduced. Every time there's a new series that comes out, more games come out and the plot thickens. Not only that, it doesn't matter if it's consistent. We're making it all up. At the end of the day, we're just following the games that have a very vague story and putting our own imagination into it as well. You also have access to games, the games that tell you a story. So if the games are telling you a very clear story, you know exactly what story you should be following. You know how the rules are established, you know the location, the characters, and you have the toys to create the world through your imagination. So it's very similar to our world and things we grew up doing ourselves. Anybody that grew up playing, that you actually played the Five Nights at Freddy's series, will find themselves at some point having nightmares. Having nightmares about the characters you love, finding yourself looking at shadows, and that explains Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Having to run around in your room, having nightmares of your favorite characters coming to chase you down because your imagination has run wild. This perfectly explains this game. And if you want to even take it further, actually being sick in a hospital alone at night, having nightmares, reoccurring nightmares of home and your favorite characters hunting you down. Everybody at some point that has gone too deep into the games will suffer maybe a few days or maybe a week of FNAF nightmares. And this perfectly encapsulates any child that takes this too far. This is nothing. This perfectly explains how our imagination could take it too far. When you hit your teenage years, you finally have to get a job and you're actually more mature. Now you have responsibilities in life and you start seeing life in a different way. Having to be affected by life and all its drama. Heartbreak is a real thing by now. You probably fell in love with somebody, or you believe you fell in love. And by your teenage years, not only you have all these responsibilities and drama of heartbreak and love, but the whole story in your imagination changes. That game that we used to play in our imagination now has some more edge to it. Because we're not the same kids we used to be. Now we're teenagers. Now everything is more advanced and more edgy. We're cool now. We're teenagers. We know what's cool and what's up to date. You know, we're not child and children anymore, so we put an edge to everything, including our imagination, how we see the world. So our imagination is gonna reflect how we see the world now. So everything is much deeper, much meaningful, much scarier. So now the rules of the game are actually much harder, much complicated, and the characters we so love have new toys. And now they're much more scarier because, like I said, now that we teenagers, we have a lot more horror elements in our mind. I do gotta say, probably the worst and most nightmarish things we could possibly imagine come in our teenage areas. But we're always also gonna include that element of heartbreak and love. Everybody's heartbreak manifests into its own entity. And if you grew up with one franchise that you're obsessed with, that entity of love and heartbreak tends to turn into a very specific monster that haunts us, representing someone specific in our lives that we transform, and in our imagination we add into our games. Name and everything.
Something bad happened yesterday. Something bad always happens. I don't want it to happen again. There is something bad inside of me. I'm broken. I can't be fixed.
It is the most teenager thing to do to think you're broken, to think you don't fit in, to think that you are an outcast. That is just, you're like everybody else. You're just another regular teenager following exactly how you're supposed to think at your age. That's just normal. Five Nights at Freddy's 6, also known as Pizzeria Simulator, it's when you are finally an adult. You made it past your teens, you're in a new phase of your life, and you decided to join that franchise that you loved growing up all your life. You decide to embark with your own Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria location in real life. You made it. You're following your dream.
It's a new day. It's your time to shine. It's time to take your career into your own hands. You've saved money your whole life. Great. Now it's time to put all your eggs into one basket and take a huge gamble on your future. A gamble that comes with a 100% chance of success in some cases. What are we talking about? We're talking about becoming a Fazbear Entertainment franchisee. That's right, restaurant ownership and management. Something almost anyone can do.
So there you have it, actually joining the franchise you loved growing up and making it a part of your own life. Ain't that the dream? It's clearly established, it's a real thing. Live the dream and expand your own pizzeria. You even have companies you could buy everything you need from, like Dumpster Diver Weekly, Stan's Budget Tech, Smiles and Servos Inc., Rare Finds Auction. These are all companies you could buy all this stuff, because in the world you live, all these stuffs are very real. And you could buy them from suppliers and create your own pizzeria and your own success. Everything you wanted to do growing up your whole life, you're finally achieving the dream. You get to hang out in the arcade and play all your favorite games all day. Only in a child's imagination could you sit on a rocket where you put a quarter in and it just moves back and forward. Yet for you, it's an amazing adventure. Imagine it in space, shooting your favorite pizzas out of the sky. Only in a child's imagination could this possibly happen. And now that your dream has come true, you have really never grown up and you still use your imagination, because now you finally get to live your childhood dreams. There's only two possible outcomes that you could have. You could either fail and end up in bankrupt, which is clearly an ending, or you could succeed in your ventures and make lots and lots of money. And what could you do with that money? Even more. So from my understanding of everything, all the way from Five Nights at Freddy's 1 to Five Nights at Freddy's 6 Pizzeria Simulator, that's your story. That's your story. But then, once we reach Help Wanted and Security Breach, well, you know what that is? That is you making your own games. Not only were you able to create your own pizzeria and your own franchise, but you were successful enough to start your own game series and create a new story based on you and your imagination. Now you get to create a whole new story. And I believe from this point on, it is the kid that grew up, became a franchise owner, and is now embarking on its own game series. We are far in the future, and technology like VR and more modern gaming consoles have come out. So now you get to make your own story and create a whole new franchise for another child to use their imagination and then take it further and further and further. It's just a theory, guys. We don't know for a fact. This is just me with how I see things. Thinking back from when I first started playing the games all the way to this modern day, reacting on how the FNAF community treats FNAF, seeing how they played with toys and made their own stories, seeing it just makes sense in my mind that this is a very possible way to explain the whole Five Nights at Freddy's universe. At the end of the day, I'm going to call this theory the imagination theory, where it was all just a game inside a game, inside another game, inside somebody's imagination. And that person is the protagonist, which was all along the person we were playing as. We were the child. We were holding the toys. We grew up and we created more and more and more. And slowly, all this has reflected in our own reality, where we have merchandise in our own rooms, we play the games, and we ourselves make stories ourselves known as the FNAF community. This is how the FNAF community lives and breathes. And me, I'm contributing to the FNAF community by making my own lore, my own story, to put my own fingerprint on it all. But at the end of the day, what do you think about the theory, guys? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I know a lot of you will be in both sides, but at the end of the day, I'm here for your entertainment, guys. I really hope this theory is original and nobody has come up with it, and I finally get to have my own little lore video that actually makes an extra question on it all. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, guys. By now, I hope I have earned your subscription. Your support will be greatly appreciated. And I hope to see you down there in the comments, either yelling at me or loving me. One way or another, you are welcome to join us in this Seed of Death community. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.